Hey everyone, Cursed Deck Builder here. We're looking at a Party Time deck by Gold Cobra Triple X. So they need some help with their Burikos Party Leader and Folk Hero deck. Recently they've been getting some stronger cards, Dryneth Magistrate, Dothy, Micaeus, and Grand Abolisher. They're about to get Timna the Weaver. So they're thinking about cards that they're missing and how can they power the deck up further. So let's take a look at the deck. I know quite a bit about Party Time because one of my friends at my LGS brings Party Time. They bring Nalia as their commander, but I am interested in seeing how Burikos would change that. So Burikos counts as each and every party member, which gives you one less to grab, and then creates treasure tokens when you attack, up to 4. And then Folk Hero says, whenever you cast a spell that shares a creature type, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. So I like this combination a lot because it aims to solve two of the three main problems that this kind of deck has: mana and card draw. Now you might be thinking, what about the third one? Well, the third one is putting your party together. Then you might say, well, Burikos actually does that. It's one of the 4, whichever one of the 4 that you need. But you know what's kind of funny? So is Nalia. Nalia is a rogue. And from my experience, rogues are the toughest one to grab. So I like this as varying from the regular build, but it's important to note that Burikos is an orc rogue most of the time. Now let's look at the list and see what we can add and take out. I think very quickly, something I immediately see is missing, maybe because it's just a big, one of my favorite cards, card I like to play all the time is Dark Confidant. There's your wizard, there's your card draw. If I could spell Duelist, Keen Duelist is another copy of this effect. Having a 2-drop that draws is very, very good, and we want that here. Mom is here. I would also recommend Giver Runes is another cleric. Those two will help round out your start. I don't really like Micaeus the Lunarch. My friend plays it too, and I think it looks really impressive when it goes off, but half the time you might as well be playing Luminarch Aspirant, which I believe is a cleric as well. It is also a cleric. So I would put Luminarch Aspirant over Micaeus, just to get the triggers there when you need them. Because you want +1/+1 counters now, not in like 3 or 4 turns from now. Nightclock Scavenger, I'm assuming that's there for Rogue. Because it definitely feels like a weaker card. I'm gonna keep going. Varagoth as well. Corpse Augur. Gaunty. I like Grim Hireling, but let's keep going. There's definitely a few questionable inclusions that do feel like they're added to get the creature type. That's the impression I'm getting here. Like, Butcher of Malakir stands out here as being a very strange card. And don't get me wrong, you will be able to cast it with Burikos if you manage to attack even once. But it being here as a warrior just feels really suspect. I'm going to come up here. For artifacts, we're looking for Maskwood Nexus, perfect. Chroma's Will is very strong here. Formation is fine. Murder is very suspect. Let's come back to that. Anglo Champagne, yep. Dusk and Dawn, I get what you're going for here, but you're not. I feel like maybe I'm just used to Nalia, who puts the +1/+1 counter and grows every turn, and Burikos doesn't. Maybe you can get away with Dusk to Dawn, because maybe most of the time your creatures are going to be small. Farewell, Austere Command, Stick Together. Stick Together, obviously, just best in slot here. Okay. So, looking at this, here are my thoughts. I feel like the direction I want to take this deck in is I feel like you're kind of jumping through hoops to get a few creature types. Like, Una's Black card is a very interesting card and playable when Nalia is your commander, when you can guarantee that +1/+1 counter. Otherwise, Una's Black card is just a 1/1 flyer. Yeah, it counts towards rogues, but that's about it. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to look at this list and say, if you could guarantee one of your types, which one would it be? And what cuts would you do? What cuts would you make with that knowledge? So, not to bury the lead, I believe the answer is Rogue. Rogue is the one that you are almost guaranteed to have Burakos be. You lead with Mom, you go into, you know, one of your wizards, like turn 1 cleric, turn 2 wizard, turn 3. Do we have a turn 3 warrior? We do. Harper Recruiter, Mirror Entity. Is that it? I wonder if there's more warriors we can throw in here. Mindblade Render is another really good warrior here. So if we could make it so that when Burkos drops, we have the whole party, that would be really strong. Um, that would be the way I would take it. And then I would take the warriors that don't fit as well. Sorry, the rogues that don't fit as well. And I think I would try to replace as many of them as possible. Let's see. Let's do a quick check. I think the first thing we should be doing, so we're going to white black. We're going to type shapeshift. Is the ability shapeshifting? I don't remember. Changeling. We're going to type in changeling. And we're going to see by mana value what are acceptable changelings to play. Changeling Outcast is definitely something you should be playing. It being unblockable is very relevant, especially if you can start growing it with things like Nalia or other abilities to put +1/+1 counters on it. You don't have equipment, but being able to attach equipment. But if nothing else, it is just a solid 1 mana changeling. And with that, it'll be whatever you're missing to complete your party. Let's see. Black Market Connections you already play. It's very, very strong. Mirror Entity is good enough. Master Nexus. Where is the land? And does the land have Changeling? Let's put it all creature types. Because I don't think you're playing this. Mutavault. Mutavault, not Faceless Haven unless you want to switch to Snow Mana. Let's look at Mutavault. You are playing it. Okay, never mind. We're good. With that in mind, I think starting with the Changeling creatures, putting Dark Confidant, Keen, Duelist to lower the curve. And then what immediately comes to mind is, do you even care to have a full party? Like, if you have three party members and you attack with Burakos, you're getting 3 treasure tokens, and I think that's really, really strong. I get there's a loss of life aspect of it, but I'm really, really not thinking about that. The amount of damage you should be able to do by attacking regularly is going to be more than enough, I think, to dwarf the 4 damage per attack. So then the next thought I immediately have is, what's our moat? Fender. Crashing Drawbridge feels like it should fit in this deck. I know it's not. I know it's not a party member, and that's against the rules sometimes. But being able to give your entire team haste to get Burakos to immediately attack is very, very strong. Even just being able to drop enough creatures to attack right away is very, very strong. I think the goal is that you want to attack with Burakos once or twice, and then get enough mana to cast whatever you need. Um, I also think, I know this feels strange, because Folk Hero is right here to draw you a card every turn. I think I still want some more card draw. Ideally, like maybe not so much going straight to Necropotence. Spell. It's a little bit of an expensive card, but I think nice and easy at a much cheaper rate. Read the Bones is also a strong draw card. I don't think I would be too upset if you played a few of those. You have the mana to spare, and the thing is, a lot of these effects will draw once per turn, right? Or once per effect, but mainly once per turn. Mind Blade Render, Folk Hero, if you bring in Dark Confidant or Keen Duelist. A lot of these represent one card per turn. Yawgmoth can draw more, but it's not cheap for you to be able to do that. I think these are strong. I just think like if you're gonna have that much mana, what are you going to do with it? Calculating Lich feels really, really strong, but is kind of against what this deck wants to do. By that I mean you draw Calculating Lich, you've created a political incentive for all your opponents to attack each other, and you have a very big beater. However, as you're attacking, because you don't go that wide, right? You're playing on curve. I understand this is a 6 mana card, but you're playing on curve, like a few creatures here and there. So calculating Lich, let's say you attack with 6 creatures, it represents for 6 mana you did 6 additional damage. As mentioned before, Burakos does 4 for 4 with a full party, 4 damage when he attacks, and I didn't find that that impressive. So I don't know. I don't think calculating Lich is where you want to be. I think I'd much rather. Do we have like what kind of demons do we have? I want something that comes down. I don't know how many demons have other types. Go here and let's look by EDH rec rank, which is not what I love to do, but it is helpful to just get an idea of what's up here. So a lot of these demons don't have creature types, which is rough. See, what I want is I want a really big creature for you to drop at the end that guarantees a win or that swings the game very far in your favor. And I think you're in that direction with these cards, but they just feel a little off. Micaeus is here, and I don't see Triskelion for the immediate combo win. I don't know if you're unaware you've made that choice. Triskelion. Triskelion allows you to ping your opponents once and then ping itself twice because no. Ping your opponents twice, then ping itself, which will bring it back to life when you have Micaeus because it won't have any +1/+1 counters. And then you can repeatedly you ping all your opponents to death by removing +1/+1 counters and saving the last one to kill Triskelion itself. That's the I win combo. It's a lot of mana, but you have the mana for it. But everything else here, though your top end is strong, like I love Puppeteer Clique, Solemn Doom Guide has a very high incentive here. Micaeus the Unhallowed is strong, Pontiff of Blight is strong, Butcher of Malakir is strong. None of it precisely finishes the game. I would suggest for you, like, if you really want that, you want to keep the party, you want to build out a very large attack that wins you the game. We need something. I don't know how I feel about Chroma's Memorial. I think like Eldrazi statue, Eldrazi monument. Even something like Eldrazi monument seems fine because you are losing a creature each turn, but you have the ability to cast it again. I want something that you can cast and swing in. I want something that boosts the damage of all of your creatures and you attack in one flurry. And I feel like where is it? Chroma's Will is really close, but you just need a little more damage. Now, I've been going on for a while, so I want to finish this off. And I'm going to finish it off with a suggestion I don't fully believe, but I want to make anyways. And you might have guessed what was coming, but I think you should consider Nalia as your commander. I think it has the perks of Burakos without, and the fact that it gives the full +1/+1 counter. So it lets you cast your party creatures off the top, which is close, maybe better than Folk Hero in certain circumstances. It gives you your most needed creature type, which is Rogue, and it buffs your party very quickly. +1/+1 per attack is really relevant, and it's permanent. Within a few turns of having Nalia down, you will have 5/5s across the board, and that is a very lethal threat. If not, if you want to keep Burakos, I really, really think you should be aiming to use this as a ramp spell. Okay, this is my last thought on it. If I was allowed to do whatever I wanted with this deck, I would cut almost every party member that I could get away with. And what I would do is build this as kind of black-white hate bears, and with the main goal of ramping into a win condition. Burakos is there. If you have Burakos and one other creature, you're guaranteed to create 2 treasure tokens on attack. That's not terrible. Considering how easy it is to get a third creature to get 3 treasure tokens per attack, I think that's the direction I would build it. I would build it as Burakos taps for 3 mana per turn. Folk Hero still works here, still draws you an additional card for all the creatures you've kept, and then the rest of the deck I would fill with whatever win condition direction you want to go in. Especially because you can make a lot of mana, I would think of really strong black spells with X in it. I would think of anything that would immediately take out your opponents or put them in a particularly bad spot. Equal to or greater than. Black. Let's go here. Let's see what we can find. Once again, Archon's not as good here, but I'm thinking of not creatures. Worst Fears is a nice one. You'll control but another player's turn during their turn. Rise of the Dark Realms. There's one here I'm looking at, but I guess it's not here. Oh, it's going to put greater than. So Breach of the Multiverse. Cruel Reality is also very strong. In white, too, you have a few curses that take an opponent completely out of the game. Ghastly Constriction. Grave Betrayal is what I was looking for. Grave Betrayal, Rise of the Dark Realms. These kind of really big cards that, in Garrick's Wake, Kindred Dominance. I guess that's not as good here, but these kind of cards that just drop and immediately put you in the lead for the game. Peer into the Abyss, Plague Wind. All of these cards are incredibly strong, and it is reasonable for you to be able to ramp into it in 1 or 2 attacks. I think that's what I would do. It's a very different kind of party deck. I will admit, Villas is also something I put on the list, but it's a very different party deck. So I'm just leaving this at the end as an idea. But otherwise, looking for what the deck is, I think you're building a really strong deck. I think the addition of Timna is going to be fantastic because it goes directly in the direction you're going for. I think you could run some equipment if you were feeling to kind of round out this power of your party, as opposed to just doing blanket +1/+1s, like empowering 1 or 2 here. But I think what you should keep in mind is if you have Burakos, 1, find out which creature type you want him to be, and 2, find out what you're doing with that mana. All right, this went for about 20 minutes. I hope this helped. As always, I am cursed, so I would appreciate if you continue to send me decks to build. I would appreciate if you commented or subscribed, whatever you'd like. I hope this helped, and I hope you enjoy this wonderful party.